Hey folks, this is Noble Rambler and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Banished in our little starter town of Springview. And I've been looking over the map here and see a lot of void starting to show up in our forestry zone here. And we're up to 100 logs. It's not our limit, is it? Logs, 300. So what I'm thinking about doing is letting the see right over here, turning off cut for a little while and letting the trees mature a little bit in here. We're okay on logs for the moment. We need to get our trading post up and going. Now there's a lot to be said efficiency wise for not starting a project unless you've got all the building materials done, because what will happen is if they need, we need 6 more iron here, so they're gonna head out over here and hack away at it and bring a couple over to a stockpile and then go off and get lunch and then maybe go off and get some more and come back. Then eventually they're going to haul from the stockpile over to the building site. If this was all piled up on the stockpile, it would just be a quick trip to drop it all off and get working. So if you can get your building materials in ahead of time before you start a major project, it's the more efficient way to run it. And what I also got to noticing, while we do have a lot of material sitting over here to harvest, I also have an awful lot over here, even more than the other, but you can't get to it because of this little stream. They cannot cross the stream. They have to walk all the way up around until probably right about here and cross over, come all the way back. And then when they do their work, they got to make the trip back again. So I think it would be wise for us to get just a short little bridge popped in over here. We are into late autumn. We're beginning winter soon. Here's our first frost. Food is in excellent shape for our population. We've only got 18 adults and 6 kids. Don't have any school kids at the moment because we haven't got our school up. So that's another issue that's going to have to be worked on soon. So food-wise, we're fine for the winter. And this isn't that far away as far as staying warm. So we're going to finish off our trading post. Then I think we're going to move on into a bridge. In fact, the supplies are delivered. So let's go ahead and get the bridge set up. The laborers can start doing the groundwork for the bridge. It's the builders who are going to be busy over here. So let's see, road, bridge. What is our cheapest? Let's take it across like so. So 32 logs and 8 stone, right? Yeah, that would be stone, and we do have that in the system. So let's go ahead and pop that in. Put it up here to remind us that that's going on. Now, job-wise, you can go through your list here. We've got 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 1. The 2 is really a 1 there. We really don't need more than 1 herbalist, so let's just take this one down. So what do we got? 4, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 jobs are actually in the system. While we are shutting down our log cutting momentarily, we should also, that's over here, increase to 4 foresters, get more trees planted. I'm not going to keep this off very long. It's kind of dangerous to do this because you tend to forget and you get tied up in other projects and don't realize that your logs just ran out. But I'm going to give this a little bit of time to a few more trees planted, and then we'll turn it back on again because we do need the lumber. But we could come over here for a while and do some clear cutting. In fact, we've got a bunch queued up. That's right. Okay. Let's queue up a few more trees, make sure that we got enough of those. Cut trees. Yeah, something like that. We'll leave some trees around the perimeter, mostly just for looks. I like to have a map that's got some of the original trees in place. So, except for the efficiency problem of not having any logs for the woodcutter. You know, we could be grabbing logs from out in this area and let our, there we go, let our forest build up a little bit. So we just got our trading post done. We're going to go ahead and assign one person to it. One is enough to get us going. There we go. That's not, oh, we don't have any to assign. Okay, we only need 2 builders for the bridge. So now we've got someone to assign. So our trading post has a place for us to store what we want to sell. Trade shows you what the incoming trade ship has to sell to us. And then the transaction and purchase it. As well, when the trade ship comes in, you can see what they are capable of bringing next time, and if you choose, you can order something and ask them to bring that next time. There is a premium you pay for that, yet they'll charge you an extra, I believe it's 25% for the special order fee. But this is where we will store our extra supplies that we don't really need or that we make abundantly, so we've got something to trade. Usually that would be venison, firewood, maybe eventually some tools and coats if we get, you know, enough venison, you know, enough deer being hunted to keep our leather supplies up so that we're always ahead of the curve. So let's, where are we at? We're low on logs. That's right, we're going to be taking logs out of here, which means, well, we've only got 1 laborer. So in reality, we're not going to be taking logs out of there for a while. We don't have the manpower to do it. We've got, like I was about to say, we've got the 15 jobs. We just added 1, so that's 16 jobs. We've got 18 adults. So we must be short 1. Yeah, the hunter. We're down 1 on hunter. Otherwise, everything's maxed out. So that gives us 3 extra people in the system right now. It'd be nice. Well, we could go without the extra hunter at the moment. We don't have any deer that they're not getting by not being there. In fact, we can almost take it down to 1 hunter if we needed to. In fact, let's do that. Let's trim this down to 1 hunter. We've got plenty of food. Let's trim our gatherers down to 2. Get some laborers going so we can take out more of our resources. What else can we trim? That's not absolutely necessary. The foresters we do want going. We want to... In fact, we're going to... Let's see. The bridge has already got its logs. Let's go ahead and turn cut back off on the forester and let this thing lush up. Let's get the forest thickened. We've got plenty of laborers now who will be taking logs out of here. In fact, we should give them a place to put them without having to make the long walk. So let's put in a quick stockpile over here. Let's see here. Stockpile is storage and something like so. And the first episode I mentioned that a stockpile, you've got to have originally a stockpile where you can place things onto from the other stockpile obstacles that you're clearing, but I'd forgotten that they do set them aside to get that first stockpile going. So it is possible to get a first stockpile going when it's got obstacles in its way. But let's put a priority on this one so we can do a lot less walking while these folks are clearing this area. And let's see. Now we've got all our materials in for the bridge. I was going to say then they can grab materials from here to build the bridge with. But this will open up. Let me go ahead and close this for now. Open up access to much more resources, which is going to help us a lot. It would be nice to get the stockpiles filled so that we're not doing any more building without having the building materials in the bank already. So let's try to remember. In fact, even though this is at the middle of our map, I'm going to take this guy to the top just so he's remembered. We want to turn that cut back on in a few game months. I assume that they plant in the winter. I don't know why they would stop, but it's possible that the snow would slow them down. So wooden bridge is done. So now we have access. We could go through and build some roads through here. You know, let's do that. Let's throw in some dirt paths because their walking speed will greatly increase. Let's take this out to this stockpile, and then let's give them a diagonal path. It doesn't do that too well, does it? Okay, stop that. Unfortunately, the words are right in the way, so it's hard to see what I'm doing. I would like to leave that tree. I can't tell if I... Oh, the tree is on this path anyway. Okay, so that tree is going no matter what. Alrighty, no problem. But that allows for a little more efficiency in walking out to this stockpile. And eventually we'll do the same thing out over here and drop a stockpile in this area. Of course, no matter how you do it, unless these stockpiles are supplying materials for building projects out here, your laborers are still going to have to walk the whole run to load up and walk back to a building site. Although this time they'll be doing it with full loads instead of a few here and a few there. Okay, logs are low, and they're getting low where they're needed. So let's go ahead and turn our Forester Lodge back on. Even though we'll be taking out trees and filling this up with logs soon, it's still a long walk for the woodcutter to make it in. Alrighty, so we've got our trading post and our bridge in. We've got 16 jobs and 19 people. It leaves us a surplus of 3 laborers. Question is, do we want to get another house in right now? That's more mouths to feed, but it's also a little more insurance that we're not going to overage our population. Our first settlers are starting to get up there. They're all in their... That's a new house. They're all in their 30s. The original 4 houses here. And their kids are getting older. So as far as babies go, we have a 0 and a 5, a 5, a 5, a 5, and a 7. So it's probably time to pop in 2 more houses. Let's go ahead and get that going. You want to keep your population young enough to stay within childbearing years. So, I'm going to work on these guys. They require 16 and 32. We don't have the logs in the system. So let's pause both of these, set them aside, and let's work on getting some logs cleared. Let's think about this. We've got essentially 7 laborers at the moment. Food supplies are still maintaining. Firewood is up. Firewood, that's right. Before we go any further, eventually we're going to see a trader coming in. It'll most likely be coming from up in here. I'm not sure which time of the year he comes in. I assumed it was spring, but I think ultimately it's a year from whenever he left last. So it's possible that's going to change and the schedule's going to change. But let's get some supplies in stock over here in preparation for a trade. So we've got 420 firewood in the system, plus of course what's already in the houses. The houses are, you can figure they're already stocked up until we get these guys going. Firewood production is set at 500, so we're getting near the top of our firewood production. So let's go ahead and send 400 firewood into here. Let's toss a 0 in there and call that one good. Now, how are we on venison? That tends to be the thing that comes in the fastest, and actually it is not. I'm used to this being the biggest number in a storage barn. So we're pretty heavy on mushrooms, berries, and roots. Now when you trade, I'm pretty sure mushrooms, roots, and berries count as, well, we'll say count as 1, whereas venison counts as 3. So you'll get more bang for your buck selling one venison than selling one berry. If you were to sell berries for corn, for instance, you would just get a 1-to-1 trade. It really wouldn't be worth it other than getting some variety. So really it's venison that has the value as far as trading foods. And we've got another 160 in here as well. Let's go ahead and toss 200 venison into here just to have it ready. I could click this 10 times. Sometimes it's easier just to get the beginning of it and put a 0 at the end. What else do we have in excess? Logs are coming up quickly. That may be because we have them sitting here too. But in excess, hide coats we do not. Tools we do, but we are low on iron. Well, we've got a bunch coming in, but we've cleared all the iron out of this area. Real hesitant to sell off those just yet. So I'm going to say we don't really have a lot in the bank yet as far as spare supplies. So we've got enough in the 400 and the 200 to give us a start. Now we've got one trader who's right here. His job, I lost him. Trader, there you are. Sitlali is, did she say she's working? Yeah, she's picking up firewood right now. So she's going to spend her time filling the order that I placed into the trader, the trade post. So she is going to bring in venison and firewood to fill it up to hit the limits that we've got. So that is her job. So we've got our 2 houses to put in. We said we needed 32 logs. And we've already brought 8 stone over before we paused them. So 8 stone and 32 logs. We've got the ability to do it now. It will empty the system, but the system is being refilled. Yeah, they're busy. We've got busy ants over here working away. So let's go ahead and fire these up. Let's see, here and here. Our 2 builders are still on. They would have been laborers by default until they had a project to start building. So the laborers are going to be grabbing supplies, I assume from here. Now, we are now out of logs over here. Oh, this one. We've got 25 logs over here, so they're probably going to empty all of the firewood cutters logs, unfortunately. Because that is the closest source to this building site. Later, when we get the market in, which is probably going to be up in this area, you'll have workers for the market that will basically act as a large supply barn or storage barn, in that they will go out to all of the storage barns, and I'm not sure if they grab anything from stockpiles. It might just be storage barns. I think the building materials remain only in the stockpiles, but I may be wrong. It could be the firewood gets brought over. I seem to remember that. But they will go and gather all of the supplies from the various supply sources around the map and make a good balanced mix of supplies. Then you build houses within the sphere of the market. So all within that yellow zone there will be able to walk over to that market and grab what they need. So your houses will fill up from the markets rather than emptying out the storage barns like we have been doing. So really what we've got going on right now is just, because it is a mountain map, we don't have large expanses of building area. I've got to really just pick small little zones to work in on a mountain map. This is kind of a starter economy. Enough workers to get the basic jobs up and going, to get the food coming in, which is starting to lose ground a little bit. But I really want these laborers to do a good job at clearing out the area so we can get some basic supplies back on our stockpiles. But soon we'll put those gatherers back in place, and we'll just have some builders doing whatever projects are ahead of us. What was I about to say? This is basically just a starter economy, or starter town. From this, we will have the supplies built to start putting together what will be our official or real town. And we'll use this as a great model to show you how it all goes together. We get our town center in here, and our town hall. And maybe we'll pop a... Well, there's really no... Well, there's a little land here. I was thinking of some footprints here for more fish and another trade post, and pop a tunnel through. Woodhouse is done. Some 20-somethings moved in, and will soon be gathering the supplies for their new house. And they'll make babies, and kind of fun to watch a new family get going. There we go, right there. Just dropped a bunch of food in that she gathered from the storage barn. So once we've got a good solid economy going here, then we will, in an episode or two from now, get to work creating this area. And probably down here will be farming. In fact, that's very likely it, because we're going to do another forest node over here. So if we farm this corridor and town this area, we can go ahead and start stripping trees out of here. Yeah, that's a good idea. So 25 firewood. We're going to be fine on firewood for these two houses. Go ahead and shut these down. And let's assign some tree cutting. In fact, let's assign just an overall stripping out of this whole area right here and into here. So our laborers will be able to dive in and get that done when they've got nothing else to do. Alright, so we are back to planting and cutting here. Right here we've got logs for our woodcutter, who has to be replacing all the firewood that we've taken over to our trade post. We do have 400 and 200. So Sitlali, was that her name, has done a good job of filling this up. Alright, so we do need to get the fisherman's hut going soon too. But we've got all these assigned. I'm pretty sure that they will work on these before they start taking down this area here. I may be wrong. You are picking up resources. Okay. I had assumed that they worked in a matter of priority, but it appears that they may work in a matter of distance away from when they get the assignment. So she went to the closest resource that needed to be taken out. Although she skipped the rest and she's on her way clear over here. So I'm thinking there is yet some randomness to it. It doesn't seem, in fact, she's going as far away as she possibly can. Yep, you went to the very furthest tree. That is interesting. Why did you do that? So if that's the case, then there are certainly problems with assigning huge swaths. Little bites at a time will make it far more efficient. Very interesting. Let's take out that last half of this whole area. How are we doing here? We're doing pretty good. Let's take this group of trees out as well. And we'll take everything in case there's a rock or an iron hiding in there. And let's go ahead and drop a stockpile, like right about. Okay, right about there. Don't need much. Just enough to store things to keep the walking to a minimum. Alright, so what is our plan? These guys are going to be later. Oh, we're hiding something down there. The mine's going to be much later. We've got plenty of resources that are accessible to us now in these two areas, so we don't need to be mining for iron. It'd be nice to mine for coal, but it may be that we can trade for some coal at least that first round to get us going. So we've got no trader yet. And there's different ways. There are different ways to record a series like this. We can put it up at speed 10 and blast through it and get to whatever goals we set and get there, you know, as fast as we can. But I think Banished is very entertaining just to sit back and watch. So I take it slow and kind of enjoy the experience. Take the helicopter ride. Yeah, we're filling up nice over here. In fact, we're getting to where we're almost running out of space, but we're also just about done with our assignments. So it'd be nice to, you know, let's go ahead and pop this guy on. We've got plenty of materials over here. We've got a pretty much full stockpile. Did I see firewood in there? I did see firewood. Somebody had firewood on them and made the trip to pick something up and dumped everything over here. So unfortunately, firewood had taken up one of our slots, so you can't put any more in this space because the firewood is taking up that space. But we're hauling logs out of here now to go to fill up the fishing dock, and that will give more people something to do. Our food is still maintaining fine, though I believe the number is 5. If you get at least 5 different sources of food, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We actually do have 5 that we can get out of the forest alone. But the more variety of food we've got, the healthier they are, as well as access to medicines. Our herbalist is up and going. Herb limit is at 1,000. Does it tell us anywhere what we actually have? 3 and 36. That's surprising. Why is that? I don't believe it's the number of workers. Now, I'll tell you what, for a year or so, let's go ahead and take that up to 2 and go look at next year's results compared to this year. I really expected that to be well over 100 by now. I've always seen, it always seems that one herbalist is able to make the trip and grab whatever grows out here, that there just aren't enough of them. So here's one over here. There aren't enough of them to overwhelm a single worker there. Fishing dock. Yeah, look how quickly that went in compared to some of our other buildings, since all the materials were already here. Alright, fishing dock is available to us. Mostly we just have the option to work or not to work. So let's pop 2 workers in there. Now, let's go back to path. Click on this. So they're going, basically the houses will be, whoever lives there will grab the closest job to their house. We'll find that whichever one we're at, they grab the closest house they can get to. So of course the further away you are from housing, the more limited your choices become. It would be nice to have one house over here to handle the fishing. And that may well be the next place that we do build another house. But right now we do have lots of children in the system. In fact, as having children in the system, what's it take to put in the first school? We're probably well past when that should have happened. We're going to get a workforce of uneducated colonists that's probably here, yeah, that are not going to work very efficiently for a while. So, what have we got here? We got a trading post here. Just debating whether or not we would ever want... Ah, you know, I missed something. There probably should have been a road there. That's probably the entrance right here. Whether or not we'd ever want to stockpile next to this trading post. Let's throw that road in real quick, just for efficiency's sake. Probably just need it up to this point. So here's the swath that's left over. We can also toss a road out here. Most of this housing is going to be taken up by workers over here, so we do want this to be further away. Let's extend the road, this road. Thinking of the future, I don't know that we're ever going to be capable of punching a tunnel through here or here. So this is most likely always going to be a dead end. Let's go ahead and get the school built on that little stretch of road right there. Right there, touch, and at least one space out. And that is going to take 50 logs, 16 stone, 16 iron. We have it all in the system. Unfortunately, we're going to rate it from here first. We do have it. Okay. And our firewood is building up well again. So let's add to this supply. Let's take it up another... Where are we? We're in autumn, so let's not bankrupt the town. Let's take it up 200 more. So 10 clicks, and who is our worker now? Sitlali is still employed there as our trader. I guess she would be a trader. So she's going to bring more firewood up for us. When there's nothing to do, I am assuming, am I right? Where was that? Right here? Getting something to eat. I'm assuming that she jumps into the role of a laborer when there's nothing to do. We are really stripping this out. That's got me a little concerned. That's why I went elsewhere. You know, we assigned this one and did not put in a stockpile in this area. Let's pop in let's first put a road in, increase the efficiency of the travel here, and eventually we'll probably drop a diagonal road through here, I'm guessing, coming out of our tunnel and going to wherever they need to go. But we'll put that in there. Let's put a stockpile in, storage stockpile. I don't have an exact size that is the best. There probably are formulas out there to, you know, for me it's the need at the moment. Unless you're building up really heavy around it, it doesn't take much just to throw another one in if you find that you're overwhelmed. I don't really like large stockpiles. Something this big just gets to be too overwhelming and is too centralized. You're spoking, you know, spokes of a wheel out often way too far to get those supplies, whereas if you had 5 smaller ones like a star pattern set up around, then it would service smaller projects much closer. So one giant stockpile in the middle has never seemed very efficient to me. Okay, so we had set up this swath here as farming. That's right. So we'll wait till this gets taken out, then we'll go back and add this back in. So this gives our, let's see, we are building a schoolhouse. Yeah. So these projects give our 3 and eventually 2 and eventually 1 and maybe even a few other citizens that are idle things to do in between building projects. Most of our supplies are in, 2 more stone and 4 more iron, and we get our teacher going. And then once the teacher's going, you want to do your best to always have at least 1 laborer in the system. As people die, the first laborer on the list will take their place. And eventually everything will kind of shift around and jobs will change because that person was living over here. and over here or here can't do that job. So, you know, they'll shift around, but you want that teacher's job to be filled immediately if the teacher dies. Otherwise, you'll lose all of the time that you spent teaching those students. They'll just default right out to becoming uneducated workers, even if they've been in school for 4 or 5 years. So that's one of the jobs that is real important to make sure that you never break the cycle of. So as soon as this school pops in, I think we'll call this an episode with our goals next time of, I guess, gathering a few more resources, getting ready for our eventual farms for whenever this first trader comes in, who didn't come in this whole year. So I'm thinking it comes in the spring, and we opened up just past his trigger point. So it'll be next spring when the first trader comes in. We are constructing. Good. 2 spaces or 2 jobs available and 2 builders doing it. But next time I'm thinking that, depending on what happens with the trader, either we'll get a couple of farms going just to see how that works, or we'll get our tunnel going and get into our town center. So how are we doing over here? Looks like we have cleared out. We've got a few left to go over here, which is further away than over here. So they're concentrating on these first. But they have been instead concentrating on getting building materials over here. So now they're just now going back to work again, the laborers, and soon the builders, because this project is almost done. Firewood is holding. Food is starting to drop. So let's preemptively, before we forget, to gatherer. Let's go ahead and pop. Should we do both or one? Let's do one for now. We did add a lot more mouths, potentially 10 more mouths. Oh, okay. Tell you what, let's go ahead and put 2 gatherers in. We're going to take off our builders for now. So, now we'll leave them there. They are acting as laborers, so is our trader, but we do need to get the teacher going. I believe 10 years old is a trigger point for a child to become a student. So, where are we at there? 9 years old. 9, so all those 5-year-olds we saw before, we got the teacher in just in time to get that batch into school. Good. The schoolhouse is here, and we're going to start to see students start to filter in, probably at the very beginning of spring. That would be the next time that all of our colonists age up 1 year. So we are in the center of winter. You have early winter, winter, and late winter. So, I don't know, maybe this is January. Late winter is February, I'm going to guess. So, I think this is a good place to call this episode a wrap. If there's anything you've enjoyed that you've seen here today, please hit the like and subscribe below, because that always helps get these videos ranked a little higher in YouTube search results, which means more people get to join us on this adventure. And it really is. This is a fun, enjoyable game. This has been Noble Rambler, and thanks for watching.